Right, so as I'm sitting here on the seaside boulevard of Jeddah, I decided I'll share some observations that I've made over the past few days that I'm in Saudi. So it is technically my third full day that I've spent exploring in the country. The other days were basically transit days. What I can say is that I am obviously impressed trip-wise, as you've seen from the material. There's no other way than be impressed by this country, the way it's developed, even in comparison to the so-called West. It is a wealthy country. The people are well off. They seem to me very happy in their lives, and that draws me to the observation that everything is about family here. Absolutely everything. You don't see people walking out and about alone, essentially, unless maybe they go for a quick errand or something, but it's very family oriented. You see people with the kids, with their parents and their grandparents. So on a night like this on the boulevard, obviously you see some people stroll about alone, but for example, this gentleman is an expat here, or an immigrant. The Saudis, you typically see them in couples or with several generations all at once, and then in the evenings they come sit here on the boulevard and cool down, let's say, share tea, coffee, share drinks, hot drinks. They typically drink only hot beverages because it helps cool the body down, I suppose. And they drink all sort of coffees. They're pretty coffee addicted as well. But the family orientation is quite strong, the family bonds, and that's something that we've sort of let slip in the West. We put our elderly in care homes, and here they stick together through thick and thin. That's what I observe, and I find that always interesting to see. I admire it and I respect it as well. I'm not drawing conclusions or judging anybody's culture, but I typically try to see the positive things and what I can learn from that myself. And that brings me to the second conclusion. It is their faith. They are deeply religious people, and their belief is deeply ingrained in their daily life. So you see prayer happening throughout the day, in all occasions. For example, here in the boulevard you have locations for prayer. People do prayer in the restaurant. There was a prayer area on the plane yesterday, and it is deeply interwoven into daily life of everyone in the society, absolutely everyone, including kids, including elderly. There's nobody basically who doesn't pray several times a day. And what I try to learn from that is, because obviously I'm from a different culture and country, but I try to observe it and see these people obviously stand for something. They are dedicated to their faith and do that with their full dedication. Now, what can I do with full dedication? What is my thing that I stand for and am unwilling to negotiate on? And how can I ingrain it in my life? You know, it makes you think in a certain sense, what is my direction? What am I aiming for? And what is the backbone in my life? What is the thing that keeps me going if I have a bad day? And what that would be, I haven't yet decided, because in the West we are pretty far removed from such a deeply religious society. We used to be like that, but that's gone. Anyway, it is not about religion. It is about something you stand for, and that you don't negotiate on, that you don't surrender when you don't have time or you have a bad day. You do your dedicated ritual, whatever that may be, and sort of translating that into our culture. For example, perhaps it could be calling your elderly, staying in touch with your parents or a far relative, to keep at least that sort of dedication to something greater than yourself. So I try to think about what that would be for me. It's interesting that the things you see in others can sort of make you think about your own perspective on life and such. Another observation is that they have a whole different idea of fun than we have. It is very much civilized and controlled. Obviously, there's no alcohol, there's no drugs, but I can actually respect because I don't use any either. Basically, the only drug you have is nicotine, caffeine, and the people find their fun in their interpersonal relations, and isn't that what it all comes down to? They seem to be very strong in that, so they are very social people, something else I admire. And fun for them is just hanging out and talking. They talk, they're very social. On the other hand, the beaches are closed right now, so how do they get their external fun and their stimuli? What I find interesting is that a lot of that is Americanized. So it seems that the basis, the backbone of the fun thing and the life in general is the social setting, and I would think as an introvert you wouldn't fit very well in the society, whereas in the West we typically don't mind if someone is, for example, single or doesn't feel like hanging out. I think they grow up with a social circle and stick with that through their lives. And in the West, for example, that's for a smaller part family, for a bigger part just friends, and here it is the other way around. It's family and then friends, a close addition to that. Other thing is, I'm not going to go too much in politics, but definitely something that we shouldn't overlook Saudi as a global player, because these people have the future. In the respect that obviously they have oil, but they also have the global position. They are centrally located in the world, they have resources, they are influential, they are the 14th largest country in the world, and we must regard them as a big player on the table. And I think the future of business lies here as well, because they seem to have the mindset to be adaptive to everything and take the best of all worlds. So they keep their traditions, but at the same time they are very keen and smart on adopting innovation from anywhere else that they see fit.